Hi, mamas. It's Sarah Nissen from sarahnissen.com. I'm coming to you from San Diego today, and my other monitor broke after a couple of days of use. So the camera's a little bit lower today. So I apologize for the under eye wrinkles from this lower view of the camera. But this is exactly why I'm coming here today, because I want to talk about the traits of high sensitivity. And one of them, one that can be detrimental and hindering for highly sensitive kids as well as adults, because kids grow up, don't they, is perfectionism. So as I sat here getting ready for this live video, I was like, I can't do a live video. The camera, the wall behind me, everything is wrong. I can't do that. I cannot. My hair looks terrible. And then, you know what I did? I sat here for a minute and I breathed. And I thought, you know, this is bigger than me. I've got to get this out there. I've got to get the information shared so I can help more people. And screw it. Screw this perfectionism. And then I was chatting to a friend online about perfectionism and how we're calling ourselves recovering perfectionists. Because for so long, I let the perfectionism just rule me. And I never get anything out. And then, you know, here I am. So yep, here I am, visible and with all my imperfections. And like I've read recently I was reading Elizabeth Gilbert's book, I cannot remember what it's called, but about creativity and how you just have to go for it. And she said it's better to have something done than to have something try to be perfect, basically, right? Because if you try to be perfect, you never finish it. But if you have it done, then it's done and it's out there. So today I'm going to talk about the strengths of people who are highly sensitive. And like I talked about yesterday, for the kids that are highly sensitive, oftentimes, since we are 15 to 20% of the population and the other people in the population are not highly sensitive, we oftentimes feel like the odd one out. We feel, you know, alone. We feel alone. We feel not accepted, maybe different, singled out. Just in general, we get lots of messages like that. And so it wears on us, you know, as children. And then as adults, we develop coping skills, but sometimes they're not the best coping skills. So the strengths, it's important to focus on the strengths of being highly sensitive, especially in your kids, because oftentimes you have a kid, I mean, you may have one kid in your family who's highly sensitive and the other kids aren't, and the other parent may not be highly sensitive, and you may be, so you may understand that the kid needs a certain way of parenting, but the other parent doesn't, or your teachers of your kid don't understand this. And so it's a fight. It's a bit of a fight to get them to feel understood, to have the kid feel like they're accepted and understood. So focusing on the strengths helps with that. You know, you can help your kids that way and you help yourself. So one of the big strengths that I have a few of these that I have realized over the last couple of years are strengths. You know, oftentimes people say that they're weaknesses. You get that message, but intuition, having a high sense of intuition, I really have experienced that. My son does. Empathic. So that's something that needs to be managed, because it's very easy for us to take on other people's feelings. And that's a good thing, especially when parenting. And with kids, it's a good thing too, but it's also important to be able to manage that and to be able to be aware of it, be aware of what is happening, and not just take it on with just this total overwhelm. Very creative in general, visionary, so having a big vision for the future, and sometimes that can be overwhelming as well, because this huge vision, you have no idea how to carry it out. You may not have the skills. Being a very deep listener, really thinking in depth about topics and about the world. Deep feeler, feeling things deeply. I have an example of that. My son, when he was young, we didn't really watch TV because he was so sensitive. I didn't realize at the time how sensitive and what was going on, but he was probably about 4 years old. We just turned the TV on to, I think we were going to turn the Wii on to play a game, but the TV turned on to a Wonder Pets or something. And it's kind of a creepy show, actually, but it was a little scene where and I was like, oh, let's let him watch it, where this cat was getting into a gondola boat. And well, he was trying to get into it, and his friends, who were other animals that spoke, were leaving. And my son, the little cat didn't get into the boat, and my son was so upset, cried for weeks about the cat not being able to get into the boat. And he was not realizing that the cat, eventually they came back for him. But the point was that he was just feeling so deeply for that poor little cat who was left by his friends. And that's just one example of many, many examples like that. Deeply spiritual. That's something that I probably am and have been since I was a kid, but it was squashed by, my surroundings, wasn't supported. So I'm getting back into it, but excellent with language. That's also true. I mean, my son and I both he's just got a knack for language. He loves plays on words and puns, and he's just naturally really good at spelling and grammar. A deep belief in justice, fairness. That's another one that probably that show played into for my son, was that, hey, it's not fair that one little cat gets left, right? Things need to be fair and even. Detail-oriented. That comes with the perfectionism. The perfectionism is the negative side of that, but the detail-oriented nature of highly sensitive people. And acute awareness of subtleties. So I mentioned that yesterday too. That's actually part of the quiz that I put together to determine whether your kids are highly sensitive or not. The same traits apply to adults as well. But, my son used to walk into a room and immediately know that something was changed, like a picture on the wall was moved just an inch, or somebody's chair was turned, or laundry had been folded that was not folded before, or the sound was different, or the lighting was different, or the smell was different. Very noticed those little details very, very much. He's kind of grown out of that a little bit, but I remember doing that as a kid too. I would actually be able to feel a piece of clothing and tell you what it was made of, like specifically, like, oh, there's some wool in there, there's some rayon in that, there's some cotton and maybe some polyester. And I was right. But I think as we cope and we grow older and those traits about us are not cherished by those that are surrounding us, we kind of let those pieces go of us and we don't keep growing that, So those are some of the great traits about perfectionism. No, not perfection. About highly sensitive people. And those are some things you can focus on with your kids, boost those parts of them, boost those sensitivities. Those are important, and they can grow into who knows what for them as they grow and become adults. But try your hardest not to squash their sensitivity and make them feel bad for those things. I think I'll come back tomorrow and talk about some of the shadow sides of highly sensitive people and what you can do to help manage your energy around that stuff. All right, so I'm coming up with a quiz. I mentioned the quiz for highly sensitive kids. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments or send me an email or message me, and I will post the link to the quiz when it's ready. I still have to get some of the final questions ready for it, but I will talk to you soon. I'll come back tomorrow and let me know how this is helping you. Share this, please, and invite your friends to the group so that they can take part in this group and get supported. All right, bye.